What I did to prepare was I definitely started researching the schools early, looking at where I wanted to apply, what were my possibilities, getting to know the schools, what they were looking for. One thing that I really focused on was my personal statement, making sure that it was unique and that I shared a story about something that I was passionate about and the reason why I got into nutrition, why I thought it was such an important field to me.
I feel like I didn't realize how much experience you needed before applying to the internship, and I kind of learned that my junior year. So during my junior year, I kind of figured out what I needed to do in order to make myself more marketable to internships. So I became a TA for a teacher for 2 semesters, and I feel like that's really valuable because you're making connections with your professors, and they're initially going to be the ones that write you your letters of recommendation, and you really want to have strong letters of recommendation. So forming bonds with teachers is really valuable. I also volunteered at an emergency room. It wasn't nutrition related, but it still gave you some hospital experience, so you still had, even though it wasn't dietetic related, it was still clinical. And I also feel like I volunteered to be a peer health educator for Sac State, and I feel like that gave me a lot of tools that I needed that I also brought with me to the internship, such as counseling and working with different diet analysis programs and just having to come up with different projects and like outreach events, and I felt like that was all tools that I used in the actual internship, so that was really valuable and it gave me experience.
I didn't get in the first time, that was back in 2009, so I traditionally had the grades, I submitted grades, I worked full-time at Starbucks, I was a shift manager there, so I was able to incorporate my food service and include that there. I was able to volunteer and work in a hospital, but I didn't get in the first time. So I had to rethink and strategize what was I going to do to make myself stand out and get in the second time around. So I opted not to apply the next year, and I went back for my master's in public health and completed that just this last year in 2011. So this time around I was able to apply with not only a bachelor's degree but a master's degree in public health with a higher GPA, still with the work experience, the volunteer experience, and I mean I got in, so that helped. But I would definitely say to make yourself stick out. Don't give up if you don't get in the first time. There's second rounds, and just to keep going. Don't go down, because if you love this field, you're going to find a way to get into it.
I prepared several ways. First of all, it was really important for me to focus on getting a good GPA. So over the course of my college career, I worked really hard in academics to make sure that my GPA was up to standard. Also, I did a lot of volunteer work within homeless shelters. So I volunteered at homeless shelters before school, and then I'd go to class. And then after class, I would work about 30 hours a week as a waitress at the restaurant that I worked at for a while. So getting a lot of food service experience through work and then volunteer work. Even though my volunteer didn't have anything to do with the major, it still showed how ambitious I was, and I think that was a good quality.
I would say, again, research the schools, figure out what they want, and then really personalize your personal statement and tailor it to each individual school. Because you don't want to have just one blanket personal statement for every single school. That is going to be the main thing that's going to allow you to stand out. Nowadays, a lot of people have good grades, they have volunteer work, but that personal statement is yours and nobody else can have it. So really focusing on making sure it's unique and you express your passion for nutrition in this field is important.
So you may feel like a lot of the things that you do aren't nutritional related, but you can somehow tie them into how they are beneficial to your overall career in dietetics. So I feel like some of the advice that I would give to future interns is look for programs. If you are someone that is well-rounded and you do a lot of different things besides just nutrition, is to look for programs that look for types of things like that that make you more well-rounded and not just school-based, and that you've done a lot of other things. And also, not to be depressed if you don't get in on the first try. I know a lot of my classmates that didn't get in on the first try were devastated. And you know, you have to look at it like, okay, well, what can I do for next time? You can't look at it like an ends-all sort of a thing to my whole profession in dietetics. So that would be my suggestion, is just make a game plan for what you could do for next time and don't give up.
Make yourself stick out. Don't blend in. You can add all the fluff you want. You were on the board, you were in the club, you know, you worked. But if anything, I would advise you to stick out. Stick out like a sore thumb. Getting your master's degree is one way. We were just talking about going back to school. If you're not in a hurry to get into the program, a master's degree is another option. It's kind of the new college degree per se. So it just opens the door to a lot of opportunities. So don't give up. It's hard, it's not an easy journey, but if you work hard, you diversify yourself, and you stand out above all the other interns that are applying at the same time, whether it be a special experience in your personal statement or work experience that maybe somebody else doesn't have, or other degrees like a master's degree or a dual bachelor's degree, I think is going to really help you stick out as future interns.
Financially, it's been very hard, especially if you do apply to internships that aren't stipend or you don't get an income. So being able to be frugal is very important advice, in my opinion. Also, working on making sure you have good interpersonal skills and be a very good listener, and be open to criticism, because preceptors, it's a good thing they're giving you criticism, hopefully constructively, and using that to your advantage and really molding yourself to be able to better yourself as a worker. So, and also taking in all information, being a sponge, absorbing everything is important too. When I was doing my research to determine which internships I would apply to, I knew that I had a strong passion for clinical and all the knowledge that I had gained in medical nutrition therapy. So I made sure that they had a lot of experience within hospitals. Considering that I didn't have any personal experience in a hospital, I wanted to make sure that that was a field that I knew I would want to go into. So also, what I did was that I traveled to the internship and actually met the director. And I did that for Pomona and for Fresno State. And after meeting with the previous director, Molly, I determined that Fresno State would be my top choice just because it was so well-rounded in both food service and community and clinical. So that was very intriguing to me. What's become challenging for me is just being in so many rotations. I feel like I have a new job about every week or 2 weeks. So it's a lot of energy and being able to adapt well in new environments. Also, dealing with different personalities and being able to mold yourself to fit other people's personalities. And also being energetic and meeting the expectations that these preceptors have for us. So there's a lot of outside work on top of our rotations from class and other projects that we have. This year we got the Aetna grant, which has been a lot of extra work. However, it's very rewarding, and it's something that we've been able to connect with our preceptors with because of our tasks that we're completing with this grant. But yeah, that has been very challenging, just having a new job about every week or 2 weeks. A lot of to-do lists, yes, and energy drinks. Yes. Try to stay clear-minded, being friends with the interns. The interns this year, we all get along wonderfully. We're all friends. They all have my back. If I know that I'm behind on something, I will call one of the interns and be like, hey, is this assignment due this time, and what's expected of this, how do I complete it. We all have each other's back, and that's an excellent quality.